Okay, I wanted to share something that I really appreciated on Wikipedia. I appreciated the way that Wikipedia defines masking. Personality in parentheses. Masking is a process in which an individual changes or masks their natural personality to conform to social pressures, abuse, and or harassment. Some examples of masking are a single overly dominant temperament or humor, two incongruent temperaments, or displaying three of the four main temperaments within the same individual. Masking can be strongly influenced by environmental factors such as authoritarian parents, rejection, and emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. An individual may not even know they are masking because it is a behavior that can take many forms. Masking should not be confused with masking behavior, which is to mentally block feelings of suffering as a survival mechanism. Now, I'm very sensitive to some things that people say. Some of my family members are led to believe that mental illness is something that warrants institutionalization, I guess. Being institutionalized. I think being institutionalized should not be used for the purposes it is used for. And by institutionalized, I mean insane asylums. I think insane asylums are used, or mental health facilities. I think they are used and abused, and I think that families and parents need to take responsibility for the members in their family that are mentally ill. And by mentally ill, I mean severely mentally ill in a form that is incapacitating to where they cannot even care for themselves. There are some resources out there through Social Security and through I think it's NAMI or I don't know. There are a lot of mental health resources out there for people who are disabled by mental health disorders, but are still capable of caring for themselves and maintaining their hygiene and their living as long as they're provided the basic necessities. And that's pretty much the situation I'm in now. I'm like not mentally unhealthy or mentally incapacitated. I'm not severely mentally ill, but I am unable to work at this point. I'm still attempting to get myself out there to work. I don't want to accept that it may not go as well as planned. I have, however, prepared myself to believe that any and everything could go wrong. I might get out there and not be able to tolerate it. I might have too much anxiety. I might have too many issues, and it might just become too overwhelming for me. And if it gets to that point where I start to have meltdowns or start to neglect myself or my responsibilities to my daughter, well then I'm gonna have to say no, I can't do it, and accept that I have to live off the bare minimum because it's just the way it is. Eventually, somehow, some way, I will find a way to supplement my income. And by supplement my income, I mean the income of supplemental security income at this point. The whole point of this video is to discuss masking. Masking. I was recently told that someone was walking around pretending they were okay, and I've also been told by several people that I change up, or I'm fake. Generally, the people that I hear accusing me of being fake are the ones that aren't very accountable, or aren't very responsible, don't hold themselves accountable for their behavior towards me. So they will use me as an excuse. My behaving one way in public and my behaving one way in private, they use as an excuse as to why they abused me or they chose to mistreat me, as if that's an excuse. My behavior in public is different than my behavior in private, because generally if I'm with you in private, I'm comfortable enough with you to be myself. Otherwise, I don't often have roommates unless I'm comfortable with you. Very comfortable with you. I had one roommate, other than spouses. Like in the past, it was just the man that I was involved with, is who I would live with. I had one roommate that was a female, and we got along fairly well. She worked most of the time, so she was hardly ever home. It was a fairly large space, so there wasn't any issues in regards to us intruding upon each other's space. When one of us had to get away from the other, we could. I mean, not that we ever really had to. I know sometimes I got overwhelming and obnoxious, but she was pretty tolerant to that shit. But anyways, yeah, I generally, it gets to be too much having roommates. Living with other people, no, I'm not all that great at it. It gets exhausting because we literally, and it's not that we're fake, it's not that we're pretending to be someone else, it's not that we're pretending to be something else, or that we're just trying to fit in. In my case, and I'm speaking from my personal point of view and when and why I mask. Generally in public, I'm very quiet unless I'm comfortable enough to say something. And if I'm not comfortable enough to say something, most of what I say will come out like awkward AF. No one will really know what I'm talking about. And it's not even anything I really meant to say lots of times. Like, I'll be sitting there silently just taking in the scenery, like not enjoying, but observing everyone as they do what they do, until I'm comfortable to interact, if I ever get to that point. And then I'll be either pushed to the point where I'm so uncomfortable, or where it's like an awkward silence, and I'll just say something like random and stupid, and everyone just be like, okay. Or just something that only interests or is humorous to me, and they'll just be like, okay. And yeah. But my masking is more so to, I think how I feel about it is that when I am around each different person, I will take on their behaviors, their characteristics, their mannerisms. Because to me, like, I figure if that's how they're acting, then that's something they're comfortable with. That's something they're used to. That's a behavior or a mannerism or a characteristic that is familiar to them because they are themselves, right? So many times I'll take on other people's, like, even when I was married to my husband, I'm still married to my husband. When my husband was, like, actively living with me, we laughed the same. And that wasn't even intentional. Like, those are masking techniques or mirroring techniques that aren't necessarily voluntary. Sorry, as I was saying, so in my personal experience, I do it to ensure that they're comfortable with my behavior, because I know a lot of my behavior is not anything most people are like. I don't know how to explain that. There are very few people that are familiar with me and my behaviors, and I think I'm just very self-conscious about how I behave or how I act or how I interact with others. I'm very self-conscious about it because I've been criticized so much, I think, by my family and by my spouses. And by the courts, by juvenile courts, by CPS, by everybody. Like, my behavior is automatically stereotyped or classified as being like, okay, I'm very energetic. Sometimes I trip over my words when I get upset, when I get anxious. You can't understand what I'm saying. I'll speak rapidly. I'll stutter. All kinds of stuff, and they automatically attribute that to like some sort of substance abuse or substance use, rather than what it truly is. And so, when I'm around other people, I'm very, especially people I don't know, I'm very reserved. I'm very quiet. I observe what everyone else is doing, and then when I become familiar and comfortable with their behavior, then I start to act like them. And it's not because I'm just trying to be them. I'm just trying to make it comfortable for both of us. Like, not everyone's comfortable. I call myself an acquired taste. Not everyone's comfortable with my normal behavior, so I switch it up to meet their needs and to make sure that they're comfortable and to make sure that I'm comfortable. Yeah, because I have had adverse reactions to some of my behaviors before. And I've also had, like, sometimes I get too humorous and too friendly, and my humor is not always, like, a censored humor, and some people will take that as, like, an invite to sexually harass me, or as an invite to say or do or whatever they want, or, like, touch me without permission and things like that. Like they'll assume that just because I have a dry sense of humor and sometimes a what's the word? It's not perverse. It's just it's adult humor. I have a very adult humor sometimes. Like you do too. You're 14. She does. Yes. It was so funny. I was sitting here just fucking around with fucking Instagram. Or not Instagram, TikTok. And I'm like, And sometimes I'll say stuff and I catch myself in the middle of something and I'm like, oh, that sounds so dirty. And then I'll make it into a dirty statement. And then not realize, like, she's sitting right there. And I was unaware of how much she actually understood. Like, I think on Christmas I was like, Santa came all over my... And she goes, Mom. And I was like, what the fuck? How did she even know what I was going to say? And what the hell? Like, I was just messing around on TikTok, okay? I've got a dirty sense of humor sometimes. But that doesn't give... I mean, that's not like an invite or a leeway for anyone to just treat me however they want. And I'm not disrespectful about it. I'm not disrespectful to other people. And if they say something to me that they don't appreciate something I'm saying or then I respect that. Like, but still, people take it as an invite to just be overly inappropriate with me, and that's not what it is. So, that's another reason I mask a lot. That being said, I still appreciate how they define it on Wikipedia. This information is from wikipedia.org. Masking is a process in which an individual changes or masks their natural personality to conform to social pressures, abuse, and or harassment. Some examples of masking are a single overly dominant temperament or humor, 2 incongruent temperaments, or displaying 3 of the 4 main temperaments within the same individual. Masking can be strongly influenced by environmental factors such as authoritarian parents, rejection, and emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. And that's the best I've ever heard it described. Like, I don't know why I've never looked it up on Wikipedia, but they nailed it. Great job, Wikipedia! The free encyclopedia. Anywhoosie, I just wanted to share that. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or do nothing. It's all up to you. I'm not one to force anyone to do anything. I think I've said that a million times, but it's probably because I've been forced far too much to do far too many things I didn't want to do. And like, forced without force. That's the humbling part. Because I think sometimes I've been so naive and so gullible, or just so nice, that people con me into doing things. I'm just like, I really don't want to fucking do this. Or I know I should not be doing this, but they convince me. Anyways, thanks for watching. If there's anything else you'd like to hear about, you'd like me to research, look up, do a video about, I don't know, content you would like to hear, that you would enjoy watching, that won't just bore you to death like most of my conversations and my live streams, just let me know. Comment down below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to be gentle on each other and yourselves. Yeah. Let's see.